Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about just raise the base pay. Doordash driver says declining orders with minimum base pay and low tips can threaten top dasher status. Now some of you may look at this and say, hey, that sounds familiar. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Check this out. This article is based on a video we made a couple weeks ago, and at the time, 580,000 views. Things you do for content, huh? Well, in this case, and I had to take a sneak peek for this video was based on the same TikTok about 320,000 views later. And it turns out she might be facing a bit of backlash for that. With that said, I actually want to talk about what is being said here, how it actually is, and see if there's any validity on either side of this conversation. So with that said, let's get started. In a viral TikTok video, a DoorDash delivery driver calls for higher base and claims that the company threatens top dasher status to get drivers to accept orders with minimum base pay and low tips. So yeah, exactly as we were saying before, top dasher status is renewed every first of the month, and what DoorDash tries to do is that they manipulate the situation to where you try to decline and then they're like gaslighting you into trying to accept the order instead of declining it. Oh, but it'll threaten your top dasher status. No, it freaking won't. And not to mention, Top Dasher is a subpar program anyway, so it doesn't even matter if you do lose it. Some people like it. I just don't. It really is a program that's meant for smaller markets that need the extra leg up. You know what I'm talking about? So instead of DoorDash just raising the base pay on each order, they decide to threaten our top dasher status. User swizzlebalarkey says before laughing, oh my gosh, just raise the base pay. Again, I'm gonna leave her TikTok in the description because she has been popping up a lot lately. Between the first time we went through this, the second time this time, and another one I made where she was getting hate for the fact that DoorDash is going to go under or something. I'm going to leave the other two videos I made about swizzlebalarkey's content in the description so that way you can develop your own opinions on her, potentially follow her, because it seems like she's doing pretty well on TikTok. The TikToker shows a screenshot of a Dasher app asking for confirmation that she wants to decline an order. The message receives that after declining, the creator's acceptance rate would be 6%. It also notes that Dashers must keep their order acceptance rate above 70% to be considered a top Dasher. No, you must keep your acceptance rate above 70% by the end of the month. And even still, it's not worth it. The cost of keeping it is too high in comparison to the cost of everything else. According to the company's website, top Dashers must have a customer rating of 4.7 or higher and a completion rate of at least 95%, in addition to the 70% acceptance rate. They also must have 100 complete deliveries in the previous month and at least 200 deliveries completed overall. Top Dasher status allows Dashers to complete deliveries at any location at any time, so they don't have to abide by a schedule. The only thing it doesn't mention is that this status renews and checks at the end of every month, but everything they said is pretty true. Every one of these requirements are also very surface level. Like, most people don't have a problem achieving everything here. It's really the 70% acceptance rate that pisses people off. In the caption, the TikToker claims that she was never a top dasher. Oh no, my top dasher status is ruined. JK, never been a top dasher. You don't even have to be a top dasher in order to see this. Seriously, DoorDash manipulation tactics are going all sorts of crazy. The creator argues in a video that DoorDash is using the threat of losing top dasher status to get drivers to accept more orders that offer low tips and the minimum base pay of $2 per order. DoorDash currently offers a base pay ranging from $2 to $10 depending on time, distance, and desirability of the order according to its website. Okay, so according to the website, yes. According to actual real-life experience, you're more likely to see $225, $250, in some markets, and DoorDash has overall been trying to manipulate the system in order to show more of those orders instead of actual raising the base pay. Dasher's video received over 900,000 views and sparked debate. Again, the things you do for content, huh? That also said, that is 320,000 more than the last time we went through this. So there is to be expected a lot more voices being heard on this subject. And I'm very interested to see what people are saying this time around. Because last time, people were pretty supportive on the subject. A few users argued that DoorDash is intended to be a side hustle, so she shouldn't complain about the base pay. Get a real job, one user said. That argument is one of the stupidest ones out there. A lot of things are intended to be a side hustle until it eventually takes over and becomes more profitable than what is a normal job. The only thing I would say that the only reason why you shouldn't depend on DoorDash as a main source of income is how fragile the accounts can be. Glitch in the system and bam, my account's gone. They never told me a reason of why I was deactivated. The creator addressed these comments in a follow-up video, which she notes that DoorDash isn't her full-time job. Okay, so she part-times DoorDash. She's another one of those people that part-time DoorDash. Everyone is saying get a real job, definitely uses DoorDash. One user commented. Imagine the people who say get a real job and are hating on the Dashers are pretty much the same people that don't tip their drivers. They want all the smart people gone. However, several other alleged DoorDash drivers shared similar experience in the comments. They claim that top dasher status isn't worth accepting orders for low pay. Guess I'll never be a top dasher because I refuse to accept anything that isn't paying me a minimum $1 per mile, one user said. To be honest, I have no idea what that accent was. What he was talking about was the dollars to mile ratio, and I think that everybody should be following that rule. You don't want dead miles. You don't want to make less than $1 per mile. It's just a fact. My acceptance rate is at like 3%. I won't drive 8 miles for a $3.50 McDonald's order. Another commented. 3%. Yikes, man. Maybe it's time for him to look into another opportunity, because the only reason it should ever be that low is if you're multi-apping. And if you're multi-apping, that's fine. But 3%, like, you're only taking out of 100 orders 3 of them? That is really low in comparison. I've seen 0, but there's a good reason when it's 0. Otherwise, you might need to change location into an area that actually has better tipping customers. Top Dasher status can suck it. I've got 5-star service, and that's the only thing I give a crud about. My acceptance rate is 12%, a third user argued. I'm assuming this person's a multi-apper as well, because quite frankly, 12% is a little low. I say if your area is giving you 20% of offers that are good, and you could just focus on those 20% of offers, you're in a decent area. If it's ever higher than that, like much higher than that, and all of your orders are really that good, and you have a pretty high standard, you want to stay there. You never want to talk about it, because then other people are going to saturate your market. I mean, I'm probably going to talk about it anyway, but that's what most people want to do. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I think the first 580,000 people were really supportive or just ignoring the situation. I am shocked how the tables turned with some of these people. Like, some of the people were like, get a real job and blah, 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 and just hating on her for being a DoorDash driver. Oh, suddenly it's a problem that I'm actually making money instead of listening to a boss, doing a 9 to 5 or whatever it is. No one should be ridiculed for that. And this isn't even her full-time gig. She has a full-time job on top of this. As far as raising the base pay, I still say it's not gonna happen. DoorDash as a company doesn't have the integrity and the character in order to do the right thing. They don't have a lot of money as far as money kept themselves. Sure, they have 50 some odd percent of the market. Yes, they are making a lot of money, but most of which is going either to the executives, which we all know that's not, they're never giving up any kind of money. What do you mean? The other way it's going is towards refunding people and basically all of the costs that go into it. We actually made a couple of different videos talking about how DoorDash doesn't even have so much as a savings account. DoorDash doesn't have the pressure on them that it needs in order for them to do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, they don't need customers to go into the customer app. They can simply act as a white label program and have brands represent their own company, and they just handle logistics and they make more money that way. And on the flip side of that, those who don't have a high acceptance rate, they're doing what I think is the smart thing, and they're multi-apping. They're making sure that they're not dependent on any one income because, quite frankly, DoorDash is going to continue their manipulation tactics regardless. They're diversifying their gig portfolio. They're making the most amount of money in the least amount of time and ultimately doing the right thing, taking the best possible orders. One thing I will say is some people are saying it's not a real job. It is a great income bridge to what would be a long-term goal, but it's not the goal, so I do agree with them in that sense. You shouldn't be planning on sticking around in the gig economy for a long-term period of time. I 100% understand people who want to do that because, well, it is good money, but you should never be dependent on the income that is coming from DoorDash or really any of these apps. Don't expect them to raise the base pay. In fact, honestly, I still believe they're probably going to drop it if they didn't drop it already, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And just keep hammering on, man. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!